The St. Louis Cardinals get crushed by Arizona again. Grab the hammer and nail and hang the open for business sign up. It is time to sell.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily St. Louis Cardinals podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, Cardinals fans. I'm JD Hafford, and I'm your host for Locked On Cardinals, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, covering your team every day. Follow me on X at JD Sports Radio. The podcast also on X at LO_Cardinals. We're on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. Find us at Locked On Cardinals. This is a show serving Cardinal Nation and giving the best fans in baseball all of the info about the birds on the bat. Today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. Now, the last thing you wanted is for the Cardinals to come out of the All-Star break like this, flat. Might as well call them the St. Louis Pancakes because they have been completely flat in the first two games in Arizona, getting pummeled again on Saturday by a score of 10-1. And the really depressing part about it is that they had Sonny Gray on the mound. This is your guy, right? Sonny Gray, he's the man. He's the guy that you turn to when everything else is burning down all around you. He's the guy with the fire extinguisher to put out the flames, and instead, he grabbed an extra couple of gallons of gasoline and drenched the entire building with it. Up in smoke. Everything went. He was dreadful on Saturday, lasted just 3 1/3 innings. He allowed 9 runs on 11 hits, career high 9 runs, by the way. 2 home runs to Eugenio Suarez, who now has 33 ding-dongs this season. Of the 15 balls that were put in play against Gray, 11 had exit velocities above 95. 10 of them reached 100 miles per hour or higher. He was batting practice, is what he was. Like they never even had a shot in this game. Like the game was over by the 3rd inning. There was no coming back. It was done. The trade deadline is less than 2 weeks away, and perhaps this beatdown, and I try to look at things through a positive lens. Perhaps this beatdown was a good thing because it hammers home the fact that this team should be selling. There's no more sitting on the fence. It is sell time. I don't think that's really that tough of a pill to swallow, though, either. To be honest with you, it sucks that the small glimmer of hope that they might stay relevant in this playoff race is all but extinguished. But at the same time, this season, it wasn't supposed to be about the playoffs. And the fact that they had a good first half, enough of a good first half that they stayed relevant, I think that's commendable. I'll give them props for that. They weren't supposed to be here still. They were supposed to be hanging out with the bottom feeders, right? Rockies, White Sox, the Sacramento A's, those type of people that weren't expected to win either. The Cardinals were picked to be down there with all of them, and they've been better. And for a few months, they kept their head above water. They had that outstanding May that really helped out. And it wasn't that long ago that they were within striking distance of the Cubs. Remember, they won those first 2 games at home against Chicago back on June 23rd and 24th. That is less than a month ago. Today's July 20th. And they were 2.5 games back in the division. Since then, they have gone 7-12 and are 4-12 against anyone not named Cleveland. They're now 8.5 back of the Cubs, 2.5 back in the wild card. And I realize that 2.5 games back, that is not that far. That isn't much. And I'm not suggesting that this team should quit or they are quitting or giving up on the season. I'm not saying that. But what I am willing to concede is that even if they do make the playoffs, which is a big if, the chances of them getting through the wild card and then doing any damage thereon is extremely thin at best. They do get to face the Rockies after they leave Arizona today. The Rockies have been a squad that teams have used as a get-right team all year. You know, if you need to turn things around, teams like the White Sox and the Rockies are the guys you want to face. So if they get swept by the Diamondbacks, they got Miles Mikolas on the mound today. If that happens, and then they sweep the Rockies, you get a 3-3 road trip, and you're right back at square one. You haven't really lost all that much ground. but it's not a given that that will happen. And it seems like they would really just be pushing off the inevitable and just really need to start planning for 2026 and beyond and not worry about what's going on this season. Again, don't quit on the season. I'm not saying like you blow everything up and then you don't start from scratch. I'm not saying that. I sincerely hope that some of these young guys can rally together and start playing some good baseball again the rest of the way. I mean, hard to do that when your pitching staff is just getting schmammered by people. How do you trust it? How do you trust this pitching staff right now? I don't know how you can. Sonny Gray, after Saturday's annihilation, now has an ERA over 4. In fact, all 5 of their starters are in the 4s now. And I've looked at the positive side of things and pointed out that, well, if you took away 3 or 4 starts, they'd have these outstanding numbers. And that's still true, but they still could get blasted at any moment. I always make that joke about Michaelis roulette. It's kind of like St. Louis Cardinals starting pitching roulette. We don't know what's going to happen. They're either going to get killed one day or they might pitch all right and get away with one. And you're like, okay, that's not bad. But there's always that hint that they could just get crushed like they have the last 2 games. And many fans are saying what a lot of us are thinking, that, if we're going to watch our pitchers get blasted all the time, I don't want to see the veterans do it. I want to see the young guys come up, take their bumps, take their lumps now, and learn from them than watching veterans just get hammered into retirement like we saw with guys like Lance Lynn and Kyle Gibson. I say that because 2 of the Cardinals' recent starters from last year, 2 of their starting 5, are now both retired. Lance Lynn was pitching for the Savannah Bananas this weekend. And those were 2 of the 3 big signings last year, along with Sonny Gray, who gave up 9 runs on Saturday. Lance Lynn had a better Saturday than Sonny Gray did on the mound. So 2 of them have hung up their spikes. What are the futures of an Eric Fetty and a Miles Michaelis after this season? I don't think they're in retirement mode yet. They're not getting signed by a team that is legitimately trying to win anything. They'll end up on another one of those lower spending teams and probably dominate the Cardinals when they face them, because that's what happens. And I'm just done with those type of players being on the roster. I'm with the fans. I'd rather take my chances with the young guys. I want the younger dudes up and pitching and hopefully watch them grow and develop than sit here in 500 purgatory like they've been doing. So sell. Get some of them inflatable tube men that you see at the car dealerships. Put the faces and the names of Fetty, Michaelis, Matz, Maton, Helsley, Arenado, Nootbaar. Everything is on sale. So come and get them while they last. I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated just like you guys. So let's do some Cardinals confessionals next. That always brightens us up, right? The natives are restless, and I'm in the mood to hear some anger. So let's take a trip to the dark side together. This is Locked On Cardinals. Summer sports are in full swing, and whether you're all about baseball under the lights, golf on the green, maybe some high-stakes soccer action, FanDuel is the best way to make every game even more exciting. You're already following the action. That's why you're listening to a baseball podcast right now. Why not make it a little more thrilling? And now that the MLB season is even remotely over, we still got quite a ways to go, but training camps are starting up. The NFL is just 40 plus days away from kicking off their season. It's coming in fast, and FanDuel is where I go to get in on the action. I've been using FanDuel for years to track my favorite matchups. I'm a big Green Bay Packers fan, so always on there looking at their stuff. In the app, it keeps it fresh with new daily promotions and fun ways to bet so that it never feels like I'm just going through the motions and doing the same thing over and over and over. I don't want it to feel like a slot machine, right, where I'm just press a button and move on. I want it to be entertaining, and FanDuel makes that happen. It's super easy to use. You get a fast payout, and it even makes regular season games feel like must-watch event. So whether you're placing a same-game parlay or watching a bet right into the ninth inning, FanDuel will make it feel like you're part of the action. And if you're new to FanDuel, that's great, because new customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. Thanks again for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. Leave your comments on YouTube as well as on X and TikTok anytime you want. Your feedback is always welcome and encouraged. It is time to unleash the fury. We've got some slightly unhappy fans. We've got some disappointed fans. Remember when your parents used to say that to you? I'm not mad, just disappointed. People always said that made them feel worse. I don't know. I didn't like getting spanked or anything like that when I was in trouble. We've got some who are just plain angry at this point. A lot of them. Some of these are, like I said, just mentioned, some are from TikTok, some are from YouTube, from X, TikTok, in case you don't follow us there, you can. That's where I put like short clips up, game recaps. Those goes on YouTube on the shorts stuff too, but we're available in all these places, but you can always comment on these things and it'll get right to me. And we're going to go through some of these right now. These are your Cardinal confessionals. So no names will be given, but your voices will be heard. So please speak freely, my child. All right. First one, simply said a while ago, this is the end! Exclamation points. So I'm trying to read it the way they wrote it. All caps, by the way. This is the end. Has been the end. The Cards suck. The manager and team are not good at all. No one on the Cards are worth anything. I feel like Emperor Palpatine right now. I can feel your anger. Let the hate flow through you. I get it, man. My rebuttal to that is that, as upset as you are, there are some players on this roster who do have some worth. All right, let's not do that. I mean, this is not the Rockies or the White Sox right now with 20, 30 wins. We're talking about a team that's a couple games over 500 and 2.5 games out of the wild card. So let's blow things out. Let's not blow things out of proportion here. I genuinely like some of the young core guys that they've got. Mason Wynn, Ivan Herrera, Victor Scott, Alec Burleson, Matthew Liberatore. Still waiting on, what Thomas Sajacy could be. He's got to get regular playing time, right? Hasn't hit much since he's been back up the last couple times that he's shown up. Jordan Walker, Nolan Gorman, they continue to be those enigmas that, if those guys were doing things, you'd feel so much better about what the future could be for this team. Gorman was showing signs of production, but he's out again with the back issue. And it's always his back. Every year on the IL multiple times with this back thing. So that sucks. Back issues for a guy in his mid-20s, like that's not great. And Jordan, I don't know what else is left to say about Jordan Walker, except that he's got to produce. He's tinkering with everything. He's tinkering with his stance. He's wide open one week. He's closed one week. Now he's just kind of like in the middle, and he's trying. He's doing everything they're asking him to do. He's working on his swing. He's been to Double-A. He's been to Memphis. He's done it with the Cardinals. Nothing is working so far. He's trying everything, though. It's not a lack of effort. He's probably more frustrated than you and I are because he's used to being awesome his whole life. He has been awesome at this sport called baseball, and now he's not, and it's got to be frustrating, and it's got to be pissing him off, and he can't seem to get it right. I don't know what else to say about him. You're not going to trade him. I've seen those people out there. You're not going to trade him. His value, first off, it's rock bottom, so you're not going to get anything for him. So the plan is to live and die. People who are asking you about Jordan Walker, if you want to trade him, they're trying to rob you blind. They're hoping that they can come in, swoop him up, and then he becomes a star with them. So you're not doing that. The plan is to live and die with him in right field. That's just it. And hope that it finally clicks for him. He's hit a couple balls hard in this series against Arizona. That Alec Thomas catch in left center was awesome, which Jordan wanted to spike his helmet after that. I felt the pain there because, when you're in the situation he's in and you finally smoke a ball like that, I couldn't believe it stayed in the ballpark. But you're just hoping that it'll work out for him. He's a good kid. He's got all the tools. Just needs to have it finally come together for him. And I'm rooting for him. I'm rooting for him as much as I want it to work, not only just for him, but for the Cardinals too. Like I want to see Jordan Walker succeed. Fire Marmol and Blake. This team blows. No pitching, no offense. I stopped watching the Cardinals 3 weeks ago. This franchise is broken. I probably will not live long enough to see the Cardinals come back to relevance. I don't know how old you are. I don't. But I hope that it happens. I would hate for you to pass on to the other side and the Cardinals not be relevant. I think they're relevant right now. They're just not one of the top teams. 2.5 games back out of the wild card. Like, you guys, this is not, again, not Colorado. It's not Chicago, but I get it because we're pissed because we expect the Cardinals to be better than this. They're not supposed to be meddling around 500. That's not what we grew up on. So I get it. I'm not bashing you for that. I'm just saying, people are angry right now because they're not winning. And I am curious to see how things are handled this offseason with Ollie and Dusty Blake and this coaching staff. With Chaim Bloom taking over, is he going to want his own guys in there or not? Is it time for new voices? I think Brant Brown has been awesome on the hitting side of things. I don't think there's a lot of complaining there. Things have gone quite well for them until the injuries started. But does Chaim like what Ollie and Dusty have done with the talent that they were given to work with? How many other managers in baseball and pitching coaches in baseball would have succeeded with this group? Like, if I don't even know who the best pitching coach in the league is right now, but if I gave that pitching coach Miles Michaelis, Eric Fetty, Andre Belante, is he going to turn them into 15-game winners with ERAs around 3? If so, go get that guy and pay him whatever you need to pay him and bring him in here. That way you pay him, not the players, and he can work this, black magic that you think is out there that would fix these people. Who is the guy that is going to come in as a manager and magically make some of these other guys hit for more power or get more swing and miss with the pitchers that they have and the arsenals that they possess? I always blame the GM in any sport. It's not just the Cardinals and it's not just baseball. I've always blamed the GM in these situations and not the coaches, because that's the guy that assembled the talent. He picked the talent and said, this is the group that I think is going to be good enough to go win ball games. And the manager's job is to manage that stuff and get the best out of them. And I think most of our opinions are the same, where there's just not enough talent in that clubhouse. Like, these aren't guys that are not living up to their potential. The Jordan Walker, Nolan Gorman thing is a different story, but they've been struggling this whole time. It's not just this year. But why is it always on the manager or the coach who has to take the fall? Like, the GM is the guy who said that these were the guys and this is how we're going to spend the money. And there have been ownerships out there that don't pay a lot and still find ways to win. But, I say this to give some credit to Mo. He had to go backwards the last couple seasons. He was used to, money going up a little bit here and there and using it that way. Last couple seasons, they've had to go the opposite way and not pay people. And unfortunately, the guys he did chose to go along with that situations, they have not worked out. The trades have certainly not worked out. Chaim Bloom will be picking up the pieces after the season. And I'm not sure what changes he's going to make, but it wouldn't shock me if you saw some new blood in the dugout next season. I mean, why wouldn't just a fresh start for a lot of people be the best thing moving forward? I'm not blaming Ollie. I'm not blaming Dusty. Mo's going to move on. Ollie was kind of attached to Mo. Dusty is attached to Ollie. I could see it totally happening. And whatever changes Chaim Bloom makes, the other thing is you can't expect instantaneous results where they all of a sudden will be part of the top tier teams in the National League like they have in the past. That's kind of fool's gold right there. The only way to do a turnaround that quickly is buying free agents. Go splurge, get 3 or 4 guys that can help turn it around quicker, and ownership doesn't appear to be interested in paying that sort of money to rebuild that way. And it certainly has to sting too. I'm sure you've seen the footage of Busch Stadium packed this last couple nights with the Savannah Bananas in town, and Wainwright and Lance Lynn coming out, and you've got this madhouse where there's not an empty seat in the place. And then when the Cardinals come in town, it's just a sea of empty red plastic seats. The fans still love baseball in St. Louis. That passion has never gone away, but they don't love this product that the Cardinals have put on the field. They don't like the message that ownership has given them. And if you want butts in the seats again, you're going to have to do something. And I don't even, your top prospect, JJ Weatherholt, if he's on this team next year, is that really going to bring people back? Are you spending what it costs to go to a ball game to just go see JJ Weatherholt in his rookie year? I love the kid. I think he's going to be a nice piece. But I look at the division and I see, the Pirates, they're not any good, although they've been whipping the Cardinals' butts this year. But they got a star in Paul Skeens to build around. You can always look at that and go, dude, Skeens is a star. Let's get down there. The Reds have got Ellie De La Cruz and Hunter Green and a nice little group of young guys that are doing some good things in Cincinnati. The Cubs have got Pete Crow Armstrong and Michael Busch and Seiya Suzuki and Shota Imanaga. We don't know if Kyle Tucker is going to be back next year or not. But they've got those nice pieces right there. The Brewers, they invested highly in Jackson Chourio. They got Freddie Peralta. They got the Miz, all-star after 5 games. Like, who are the Cardinals guys? Mason Wynn could be, but needs his offense to develop to become a star player. The defensive side is awesome. Ivan Herrera looks like a slugger when he's on the field, but he's been hurt twice. Brendan Donovan, he's a solid player. He was your lone all-star, but he lacks the wow factor, that attracts fans. Jordan Walker should be that guy with the amount of talent he possesses, but hasn't progressed to that point yet, has dealt with injuries this year. Nolan Gorman shows flashes. The pizzazz that first-round pick Liam Doyle has. Like, he just has a vibe and an energy to him. That is something I'm excited to see in St. Louis at some point because that is sorely needed. But we don't know how long it will take him to get to St. Louis if he ever makes it. We never know. There are always possibilities that they never get here. So we're going to continue with these confessions next before we wrap things up for the day. So more to come on Locked On Cardinals. Thanks for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen. Today, for your second listen, check out Locked On MLB Game Night. It's every game, every night, all season long. You get local analysis on a national scale. Find MLB Game Night on the Locked On MLB channel on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcasts. A couple more of these. No matter if we were in a playoff spot, we should still be, okay, horrible English here. We should have still been selling regardless. Sell for the future. I never understood the idea of buying potential rentals for this young team. Sell Helsley, Matz, Nato, Matz for whatever prospects you can get, Fetty and Michaelis for cash considerations. In theory, that sounds great, but Nolan Arenado would have to waive his no trade clause. No guarantees he's going to do that. I've said it since they started talking about trading him last year. That feels like an off-season move for Arenado, not something he's going to be interested in doing in the middle of the year. Maybe I'm wrong, but his personality, it just feels like he'd rather plan ahead and do it in an off-season. Michaelis has to waive his no trade clause. Who wants him, by the way? Eric Fetty is almost worthless on the market right now. Rock bottom. Helsley and Matz could net you some stuff, so I'm sure they're listening. But with the closer market, you've got some other names, some big names like Emmanuel Clase's name's been floating around. Batista from Baltimore. Kenley Jansen from the Angels also being dangled. I don't know if there's a team that covets Helsley like we think they will. Maybe, who was it? Philadelphia, Detroit. I don't know. I was trying to think who they were talking about the other day. But there were a couple of teams that obviously could use another guy. I hope people like him and want him, but I just don't know right now. Like, his stock has dropped since what he did last year. Like when teams are hitting over 400 against your fastball, that's not going to attract people. But his fastball does come in at 102. I hate being right about the Cardinals, but I've been telling everyone they just aren't good enough to be a playoff team. I predicted a 4th place finish, and it's looking that way. I really did want to be wrong. Yeah, the Cubs and the Brewers and the Red, they're all playing very well right now. And then the Cardinals, at the same time, they're fading away. So a lot of distance being made here. I didn't care where they finished in the division. I just figured they'd be similar to last year. I had them right around 500 is what I thought they'd be. What I say, 84 wins, I think is where I was at. I never thought they'd be embarrassingly bad the way many predicted them to be, but it has been tough to watch over the last few weeks. This series for sure has not been a whole lot of fun. You got Michaelis on the bump today to try to avoid the sweep. Maybe he comes out and surprises us again. Maybe he gives up 15 runs in the first 3 innings. I don't know what's going to happen. Could be anything. Although he's pitched better since giving up all those home runs against the Cubs, and they figured out whatever it was they figured out, whether he was tipping pitches or whatnot. But he has pitched better since then. So maybe he comes out and doubts up the Diamondbacks today. I don't know. But the Diamondbacks look like they're trying to, again, they're under 500, but they are playing like a team that is pushing for a playoff spot. So they're going to be an interesting team here at the deadline too, because are they really going to make it all the way back? And if they do, do they add or do they trade guys like Suarez? You got a 33 home run guy on your squad. And if you're selling, you know how many teams are going to line up to get him? Oh, it could be dangerous on a team like the Cubs. Like, that'd be something. Anyway, I'm not rooting for the Cubs to get him. I'm just saying, like, thinking out loud, wow, imagine if he goes and plays third base for them. Cubs are all in. They got Kyle Tucker this year. We don't know if they're going to have him next year. So this year is a window for them. And with them playing as well as they are, I could see them making a push for him. I mean, why wouldn't they? But we'll see what happens. They're going to try to avoid the sweep today. Then it's off to Colorado, who, again, on pace to set a new record for their worst winning percentage in baseball, but have now won their last 2 games. So wouldn't that be the Cardinals' luck that they get hot right before St. Louis shows up? They go on a run of winning like 6 of 7, and the Cardinals are in the path of that. I just would be their luck, wouldn't it? So, all right, enjoy the game today. Thank you for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. If you haven't already, give us a follow on X at @LO_Cardinals and at JD Sports Radio, TikTok, Instagram, Locked On Cardinals, YouTube as well. You guys are the best fans in baseball for a reason. I know we're all frustrated. We'll get through it together here at Locked On Cardinals.